we go.
All right. Perhaps the stupidest into a half you'll ever see. Florida 3, Tennessee 0. Where have we seen this before? 0 points for Tennessee at the half. An absolutely impotent half of offensive football for Tennessee. A mixed bag for the defense. Pretty much exactly like last week, except this time it's against the Florida Gators, and you're at home. I am Charlie Burris. That is Jonathan Crompton. This is the A to Z Sports Big Orange Halftime Reaction Show, brought to you by Zen Sports. We'll talk about them in just a bit. God almighty, Crump, what did we just watch, man? Just go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't really know where to start.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Positive.
I mean, genuinely.
Well, in all honesty, the positive, because there's not many, but the positive is we're only down 3-0 because of Napier bad coaching right there. Just say
Billy Napier's a total moron.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the positive. I'll lead with that at least. Negative is we can't get the ball right out of the gate and start having a good drive. Fumble. That's a zone read. Cannot fumble a zone read. Can't fumble the exchange.
No. When you're cruising too, really moving the ball nicely, and they fumbled.
Yeah, I mean, but the bottom line is you guys have now finally. I think you're understanding what I'm trying to say about the offense. I love Heupel. I love what he does with the players. Blah blah blah. All that. I'm not saying anything about get rid of Heupel. That's not my deal. What I'm trying to tell you is no matter who plays quarterback, we stare down the receivers. That is our system. I said that for the last 4 years. That's what it is. They're all option routes. So the hard part is great, by the way, phenomenal catch by Brazel across the middle when he got lit up by the backside safety. But if you watch the replay of it, the behind view, the backside safety turns and runs the opposite way, but we have to sit and hang on that guy so long that he had time to react and make a play. That's what our route concepts do. Same thing on that interception. That's the hard part about what we do offensively. I like I love the fact that we got a turnover on the 1 yard line, half yard line, whatever you want to call it.
Incredible play by James Pierce.
But then what were the next 3 plays? Inside zone, inside zone, inside zone.
At least run to the edges. I said it last week. At least run to the edges, man. Do it. Give us something. Oh, my God.
But here's the thing. First down, got good yards. Got about 6 yards. Why are we not at least throwing a quick game on 2nd and 4? But what have I said? What have I said? He doesn't trust him in the system. That's all it is.
He doesn't.
It's all it is. Florida trusts Lagway, I think that's how you say his name, more than we do Nico in the system.
Well,
you can see it by how the plays they call.
Here's the question that everybody's going to want to know, and we can get right to it. I think for me personally, this was the first time I watched Nico Iamaleava's play, and I thought, ooh, this guy just might not be good right now. Because I think some of it is a function of he's still young and getting used to everything. Like and some of it is the offensive line stinks, but really bad. I mean, you had Chaz Nimrod as wide open as you're going to get a guy. And he just horrible throw. Just terrible. Didn't get close to him.
Both on that drive.
Yeah. The squirrel throw. If you underthrow it, that's a solid huge game.
You don't miss that. You've set up a play, a little half roll, set them up. You don't miss that throw. You don't. And have just been told a stat in the last 20 points in the last 8 quarters of play for Tennessee. 20 points.
Oh my gosh. So brutal. And with Heupel's offense, what we've seen.
And that's going back to the second half of Oklahoma, all of Arkansas first half of the night. But that's what I've been trying to say. We don't have receiving core, I think, is there. The guys are running open. He did set up Squirrel.
They're running open.
He did. Squirrel was set up right down the middle, right? And then the next one, it was not a hard concept. It's an inside go with a hitch. If it's straight man and it turns into a fade, and he beats him, lay it up over the top. I don't know. That ball landed 4 yards out of bounds, and he was from the slot receiver.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
But that's just the reality of he's not, guys. We said it last year. Everybody was saying, "Oh, bench Joe, bench Joe, bench Joe, bench Joe." He's not gonna do it. He didn't do it last year, but now I don't remember who it was. Whoever tried to argue with me about statistically being better last year, I told you so. We didn't have 2 games, from my understanding. We didn't have 2 games with 0 points in the first half last year. I don't think. I could be wrong, but I'm just that didn't come to my mind.
Well, but before we get to any kind of replacement talk there, at least answer me this. The offensive line and specifically the left tackle position has been wretched. It's primarily left tackle, but they're also just not, they're not earth moving when it comes to running the ball or anything like that. Like it's uninspired football all the way around. And then Lance Hurd is horrific, is how I would kind of describe the offensive line right now. How much do you think that affects Nico at the moment? Is it a big piece to blame, or should we?
No, well, not in the interception, not in the 2 overthrows. No, he had all the time in the world on all of those. Now, granted, everybody's going to look like, oh, well, the sacks. Yes, those come into play. Yes, but
3 sacks in a row.
The brutal reality is he's had he's thrown the ball 10 times. I would say 6 of those 10, he's had 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Because in case you're wondering, the average throw time is 2.1.
At the same,
so we can't blame the O-line for all of it. I'll just say it that way.
But how? So thinking of that, and specifically thinking of the overthrows and the interception, how do we reconcile with the fact that he came out and looked nice before the fumble? Looked nice before the fumble. It threw some nice balls after that. I mean, what did he start? Like 7 of 8 or something? Like 7 of 8 for like 80 yards. I mean, it was a nice little beginning outside of the fumble. I feel like if you don't do that, that might be a touchdown on that first drive. And I mean, how much? Well, Charlie, what do you give that play? Like, is that?
Well, I'm going to ask. I want to ask you a question personally because it's on this line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the difference? And people are gonna. It's kind of funny. I'm starting to see comments about this too. What's the difference in what you're saying now versus 3 years ago when you were bashing Garantano, and with the same stat line? He started great, and then he fumbled, and you would bash him. But now you're no, and now you defend Nico.
Look,
what's the difference? I'm just asking.
I think you've seen some pieces of Nico's potential that Garantano never showed. So there's something to that. I mean, I think there's a ceiling for Nico that Garantano did not possess. At the same time, I will agree the actual play on the field is similar. It is similar, 100%. And it is what it is. But I would say there is value to something like that 7 of 8 start for 80 yards where he was making nice plays. But I will ask you this: is that worth dismissing the replacement talk, or should we start talking about Gaston more? I mean, where are you sitting currently?
And I'm not going to say we shouldn't. We shouldn't be talking about Gaston more. No, because it's not. It's such a hypothetical that it's not going to happen. Same thing last year with Nico for Joe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
He's not going to do it unless it's obviously garbage time, winning or losing. But I mean, there's something there. Like there is something. There's a disconnect is what I'm getting at. And I can't put my finger on it. Like something's not clicking. I don't know what it is. But I'm going to go with, I'm going to contradict your statement about the upside. College sports now, it's always been this way, especially now with NIL, is a what can you do for me now business, not upside.
Yep. 100%.
That's what it is. It is a what can you do for me now, not an upside. Oklahoma did that. They made a change against us, right? Now, granted, should they have? Probably not. If you hindsight's 2020, right? Probably not for the future because they're not playing great since. All I'm trying to get at is we got to stop thinking this is going to change. It's not going to change. This is our offensive system.
Yeah.
Like when it's great, it's freaking great. When it's not, this is what we get. We're 7 for 10, throwing for 89 yards, 21 rushes, 41 yards. That is not Tennessee football stats. You know what I'm saying? Not what we're used to, I guess you would say. We've got to be more effective in the run game. So that's where your O-line comment comes into play, is in the run game, not the pass game to me. I do think that the scramble on 1st and 10, holding, I think it was a garbage call, personally. He was already 7 to 8 yards past. That's part of it. That it did not directly affect the play. I think that was a bad holding call, personally. But because you call holding on O-line every play. You really could. But we've got to get more creative in the run game. That's my thing. We're a run-first team, but we're not getting creative. We're just trying to pin our ears back and run downhill. That it puts the O-line in a bad position, no matter who's playing O-line. When they know you're running, like hypothetically, for my team last night, I'm as guilty as anybody. We were up 37 points, and I said, hey, we're going to run the same play, and it was like 8 straight plays. Eventually, they know what's coming.
Yeah. I mean, they
you know
ran that. They ran that handoff.
There's a 37 points. You what?
Well, they ran that handoff to Brew McCoy, and I was like, oh, my gosh, look at this. It's a run play. It's not just straight up the middle. It ran for like 7 yards.
Brew looked good getting out there, though. Brew moved better on the edge than most people give him credit for.
Yeah, what the heck? Why are we not doing more of that? Why? I cannot. I mean, I'm screaming it from the mountaintops at this point.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I totally agree.
I don't know.
It just.
We did get a paid comment here. James Fair says, 8 million, fellows. Speaking of Nico's paycheck, supposed paycheck, alleged paycheck. I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's the gamble of NIL also, is that you may pay that. And here is what
that is 100% true.
Yeah.
That is 100% true. But I just want to finish that about the O-line, though. Like, are they playing great?
Go ahead.
No. But understand, when we're running the same inside zone, essentially, we're a no-huddle team. We have to tell the O-line to play. Does that make sense? Eventually, they will know the play. That's what I'm getting at. So that's where O-line gets all the hate and never the credit. That's always where I sympathize with offensive line groups. They never get the credit when we throw for 525 yards or run for 400, blah, blah, blah. But they get all the blame when we only rush for 41. We've got to put them in a better situation, is what I'm getting at. Like you said, run jet sweeps, run outside zone, run counter. Don't just pin our ears back and run inside zone. Then our O-line, you can hide an underwhelming O-line with variations with runs. We have no variations right now.
Well, this really opens up a conversation. If you end up losing this game, and I'll say at this point, it feels a little bit like a loss. The craziest part is you're only down by 3. I mean,
yeah,
you're just like this, exactly like last week. We had that exact conversation, just like, well, I mean, that was trash, but you're still only down by 3 points. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so, it's right there for Tennessee. But what it opens you up to now is this, and I think we'll have this conversation afterwards. Probably win or lose is does this team kind of outside of I think the defense to some extent, does this team kind of stink? I mean, that's a conversation that you're opening up right now. If your O-line is not good, your quarterback is not good, and I think we can say the defensive backs are maybe marginally better than they've been in the last few years, but that's about all you can say. Like, that's the conversation that you're going to start having. But we'll have that conversation if this ends in a loss. Right now, we got to talk about Zen
Yeah.
Sports, and we gotta talk about who would you bet on? Who we betting on? That'll be the difference maker here in the second half. Who's the player? What's maybe a unit on the field that could break through and make a difference for Tennessee in this second half? Does that player play for Tennessee? Are they actually there? We'll talk about it after I tell you about Zen Sports. Football is back. And what better way to bet on the big games of Zen Sports? When you sign up for Zen Sports, you'll automatically earn up to $100 no danger first wager. If your first bet loses, you'll be reimbursed for the amount of your bet up to $100. And for football season, Zen Sports is launching a revamped betting platform for both college football and the NFL. And what's better, with that new look, Zen Sports is now offering NFL player props, daily promotions, including odds boost, no danger wager, same game parlays, and a whole lot more. There's even a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. You can check that out at zensports.com/VIP if you think you qualify. What are you waiting for? Start betting with Zen Sports, where you'll receive true odds on all parlays and an enhanced user experience for all. Get going. Download their app at zensports.com today. Zen Sports. Betting just got better. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. No danger wager limited to plus 500 odds to qualify. Boosted odds are derived from equivalent parlay bets offered in Tennessee. Must be 21 or older in Tennessee to bet. Once again, second week in a row, I'm absolutely nailing the disclaimer, and yet Tennessee is not matching my energy.
All right, so here's what we need to do, though, real fast. Before we read these comments, we need to now have a little prop bet on an over-under time on your disclaimer.
That's true.
Why
Can
not?
I get it under?
Why not? Can we get Zen Sports to get this as a prop bet for us?
Seriously.
You know what I mean?
Hello, Zen
Oh,
Sports.
hey, I'm throwing money on that.
We'll have to
I'm
talk
throwing
about
money on that prop bet. Let's do this.
We'll have a conversation. I'll throw it to you, Crump, here before we have to get off. We only got a couple minutes left. Who you betting on? Who can do it for Tennessee in this second half? Anybody, somebody. Who could it be?
Listen, my gut tells me to go with my original, or my OG, I guess you would say, was Samson. But I'm going to go with the player that has been, to me, one of the most inspirational players for Tennessee in the past couple of years, on and off the field, just how he reacts, how he reacted to injury last year. I think Brew comes up big for us.
Oh, I hope so.
I do. I think we try to get him the ball out in space, even if it's just like I call them the fallout routes, the 14-yard stops, or the bang 8-yard posts, things like that. I think get him the ball in space and let him go make a play. That's my opinion, and I hope it does. But obviously, everybody knows my dude is Samson. It's hard for me not to go with that because I love watching him play. We just got to put him in a better position as well.
I love Brew. I love Bishop. I love Sampson. Any of those guys, Brazel, Kitzelman, a tight end. I mean, you name it, just somebody do something. I hope it's Nico. I mean, that's what I'm going to say. I hope.
Yeah.
It just felt
we
like
are talented.
Yeah. And Nico is talented. I mean, you can tell that the kid has physical gifts, serious physical gifts. Use them, young man, and hone it in.
Exactly.
Get it going in. And I was really hoping with this homestand that he, with the quieted down crowd, with less kind of just, hullabaloo going on, that he would maybe bring the heat. And no better time than now to start, and I would say. And the defense has to keep it up. Obviously, that much is clear if the offense is going to play that way. But I
think we got the comment tonight on who's the difference maker. Mr. Jones, Heupel's play call needs to be the difference maker.
Yes.
I like that.
Oh, that's true. That's a great point.
I like that one. I like that one.
Do you? I'll make you call it, Crump. We winning this one? Would you?
I think so. And if I'm Heupel, here's my, obviously the halftime adjustments, blah, blah, blah. But here's my speech to them in a very honest, blunt, layman's terms. Guys, we played our absolute worst. You got their best shot, and we're down 3-0.
Yep.
Point blank. We played our absolute worst game of football that we could play this week. We played worse this week than we did last week overall in the first half. And we're only down 3-0 to a team that has given us their best shot. Right. It's that simple. Now just go play our game.
Go do it. Let's go do it. All right.
Just go play. But that's the thing is, and I say this to my team all the time, go play our game. It doesn't matter who, where, or when we're playing. Play our game. So in this case, play Tennessee football. Stop playing down to your level of competition, aka last week, and go play Tennessee football. That's like after you make the adjustments, that's the last thing he needs to tell them before they go out.
All right. We're about to find out what happens. Win, lose, draw. Myself, Jonathan Crompton, former Vols quarterback Jonathan Crompton, will be here in the postgame talking about it all, and I hope it's a different conversation than it feels like it might be. All right. We'll talk to y'all after the game.